Listen. Do you mind if I put my 2 cents in?
No, I don't mind.
Call the police immediately.
I don't get it.
No idea what you're talking about. Yes? Hello? Hi, stranger.
I want ham and eggs and flapjacks with lots of butter and syrup and coffee. I'll take the coffee now.
Why have you come this morning? Rain.
Where's my dough?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Vibes and Stuff Live in the Morning. It's your host,
Good
Chuck
morning.
Allen, Uncle Freezie. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Vibrant ones, how are you doing this morning? Salute to our guy, Delano Still Jr., DSJ, the real DSJ.
The real DSJ was good.
So, I'm a little off this morning.
AC, what's good?
What's good? What's good? I don't know. Maybe it's the weather. I usually don't. Since my let me ask you this. Since your accident, when it's cold or raining, are you achy?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm achy right now. I got a shoulder that's achy. Got a back that's achy and arthritic. Yeah, man. And this
Okay.
leg, the leg that the funny thing is like when you see, and those that may not have ever been in a situation, the funniest thing about getting an ultrasound on your leg, right, is that when you get the ultrasound, your leg looks like a normal leg until until not the ultrasound, but the X-ray. When you get the X-ray and you look at all the stuff inside your leg, it's like you look like
Yeah.
a robot. You're right. So you look like
Yeah.
a robot, and so it's one of them things. You're like, well, I'm human. I feel that way, and all this stuff, man. But then you look at that X-ray, you see all these rods and pins, and it's crazy.
It
It's
is.
great, but it's a part of life, man. So I deal with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know exactly where you're coming from. Um, it looks wild to anyone
Yeah,
who's broken anything and had to get a rod or a screw or
yeah,
pins. It looks.
multiple. Yeah,
It looks. Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
looks like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. It looks like they're injecting you with aluminium.
Yeah, yeah,
So now you
it-
have the exoskeleton of a Wolverine.
basically,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
yeah, basically,
Um,
man.
salute Jay Boogie. What's going on, my brother? How you doing this morning?
Yeah, salute, fellas. Salute, salute.
Um, it's
Yeah,
raining down
man.
there. It's raining down
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
up here too.
It rained a lot yesterday. Had a lot of stuff going on. Excuse me. A lot of stuff going on, man. It was rainy on top of that, man, and had to have some talks yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, you know it is, man, with talks. Man, the talk is coming. You feel like I know one day these talks are gonna have to happen, and then you mess around and didn't have the talks that you knew that you were gonna have to have, and then you have them, and then everybody's sad. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like, you know. And then plus on top of that, pollen was everywhere, so my allergies are.
Yeah.
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 Jay Boogie, you ever had to have the talk with some people, like with some family members? The talk, like, yo, stop what you're doing. What you're doing is kind of like self-destructive. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you have that talk because they don't understand that they're being self-destructive. You know what I mean? You know, you have to do like the intervention. Chuck, you ever been through that? Where you had to have the talk, the intervention.
Yeah. It's because you procrastinated and didn't jump on it earlier, it becomes even more salute more I'm gonna say cringy, but that might not be the right word.
No,
But it's just
no.
awkward is like
Yeah.
this ain't gonna be good. Um but these things need to be said. Definitely been a part of that. Came home from
Right.
practice one evening. Everybody's in the living room. We gotta talk. We gotta talk
Right.
to your uncle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want to get into my personal case,
Yes.
right? But I'll get into let's get into health and lifestyle.
Okay.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's get into health and lifestyle, and then that way we can do the setup. So um I won't get into like, my family business, but what I will say is this. I'll use an example, right? And this is for health and lifestyle Bible ones. I want y'all to rock with me on this. I want y'all to hear me on this, and I want y'all to give me and Chuck feedback on this, right? And this is to all the people that have been through something, been through something, and I feel like when I tell you this, I have to play this song by Big Bub called "Telling Me Stories." You ever heard of Big Bub?
Say that again, Unc.
You ever heard of the R&B artist Big Bub? He used to be the lead singer of the group Today.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Why you getting funky on me? This the song from House Party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a song on his album, man. The album was a classic R&B album. If you like R&B, just like straight up classic R&B, that Big Bub album from 1993, I think it came out around the same time as Tony Sons of Soul classic album. So it's probably got overshadowed some. That Angela Winbush, a bunch of people came out around the same, but that Tony album was. But anyway, let me get to the point. So we all, as people, go through things, right? As family members, as husbands, as brothers, some sisters. You know what I'm saying? We go through things in our personal lives. Hey, G, I said, good morning. Y'all stop getting dressed up. That was dope. Got to stay committed. I know it's been a rough day, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been a rough day, man. I would. The last thing I was thinking was any of that stuff. But tomorrow, yeah, man, it'll be fly, right? um, if, if for instance, I'm just gonna say this, and as I say this, that song from Big Bub telling me stories is in my mind, right? So Uncle Freezy had somebody close to him in a physically abusive relationship. One of his female family members was in a physically abusive relationship, right? And when I first noticed, like there was rumblings, like my auntie and them used to joke about it, but as I look back on it, they wasn't really joking. They were asking for help, but they didn't know how. So they were like, "Girl, you better hurry up and wrap that food up before he come in here and get you." And they would laugh all uncomfortable. And I was like, "Come get you." And then they'll laugh, you know, the uncomfortable laugh. Like,
Yeah.
like my female family member had confided in my aunties and them, but since they had been in abusive relationships and didn't know how to get out of them, they didn't know what to tell her. They would give her bad advice like, "Well, stop making him mad." Right? I found this out afterwards, Chuck. I found this out afterwards, which is why even me talking about it, I'm kind of upset in that mode. Like I feel like I want to cry, and at the same time, it makes me angry. Like if I can ever put my hands on this dude. See, I'm not a violent person, right? But this right here, some places you got to draw the line, right? So my female family member, and every time I talk about it, man, it just upset me to a point, man. It like stir up my soul. Like I'm so upset that my family allowed this to happen, that I'm mad at them, but I can't be mad at them because they didn't know how to handle it, right? Because they had been in those situations. And not just them, but my grandmother had been in these situations, right? And so it go back to like when people look at me, I guess they look at me as like I'm some type of golden child or something. Like I come from, like maybe I come from money, and maybe I come from everything, a situation where everything was pitch perfect. But I'm the complete opposite of that, right? And in this new generation, I try to project forward a thing of positivity, because where I come from, everything had been so rough and so negative for so long that we considered it normal, right? You know how if you do something wrong for so long, it just seemed like status quo.
Right.
So getting back to my female family member, right? We had a thing like a family function, right? And my aunt's like, "Girl, you better hurry up and do such and such before he come in here and get you." And they laugh. It's all awkward. They like, "Ha, ha, ha." You've been in them awkward moments, Chuck. You've been in them awkward moments before. Maybe you hadn't noticed, but the people around you noticed, right? Right?
Right.
They right. You know what I'm saying? Is everybody has, right? And so my female family member, um, she like pulled me to the side. She like, "Yo, where Mocha at?" And I'm like, "Mocha in the other room. What's going on?" She's like, "I just need somebody to talk to," right? And so while she's saying that, her boyfriend busts in the joint and bumps Mo. Like, "Girl, didn't I tell you to come on?" And so this thing set me off on rip. Yo, Hewlett Samuel, what's good? Yo, so he bumped Mo coming in at talking to my cousin. Let's just call her Keisha, right? Because I don't want to say her name.
Okay.
So he bumps past Mo, and Mo like, "Hold on." And so she look at me like, Mo give me the look, like, "Just bump me." But I saw it. So Chuck, I go straight to him, right? I don't ask them what the problem is, right? I don't ask them to talk, right? So I go to him. My aunt steps in front of me. She's like, "Hey, Uncle Freezy." This is my auntie now. This is one of my younger aunties. Like my grandmother had a bunch of kids, right?
Hmm.
A bunch of kids, right? And so this is the younger auntie. She only about 15 or 16, maybe no, maybe about 14, 15 years older than me, right?
Right. The
She's like,
baby.
"Hey,
Okay.
the baby, she not the baby, but she is the second youngest."
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's another auntie younger than her. But anyway, so like slide right in from real quick, like, "Hey, Uncle Freezy, how you everything all right?" It's like, and I used to say this N word a lot,
Hmm.
right? That I don't say anymore, right? Because I find it to be after I heard. So I had a talk with my uncles and them, and they told me about this N word that is so offensive to certain people, right? That it kind of makes me upset when I hear other people hear it, when other people say it, right? And it's because of where my family comes from and how a certain group of people used this N word to empower themselves and dehumanize others, right? So I call this dude, "Hey, N word, you bumped my girl, and now I'm about to bump your lip." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle. I ain't even see her standing there." So me, I understand. Yo, I know, I know a creep when I see one, Chuck, because the look in his eyes when he was looking at my cousin, like, "Hurry up and come on." I mean, he was going to try to do something to my cousin later on. Yeah, my female family member,
Right.
right? So she said she wanted to talk to Mo. So she like, "Yo, I just want to talk to." He like, "But we running late. Come on here. We ain't got no time." Wait a minute. And so I'm like, "Hey man, you weren't saying that outside when you was drinking up all the beer outside playing cards. Now you in a rush." So what happened was one of my female family members' exes had came through minding his business, earlier in the day. He just came through minding his business. He's like, "Hey, such and such and such." It came coming through. He hanging out with us for a little while. You know what I'm saying? And my female Keisha, new guy, finds out that that's her ex from like 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago. This dude, he ain't doing nothing. He just, he's still friends with the family. You know what I'm saying? He's know everybody up there. You know what I'm saying? He might have been, we all like him, Chuck. We all like him. And we wonder why they broke up.
Right.
Because this dude was the homie. He was like the dude. He the dude. He was in the church. You know what I'm saying? He used to be. What happened was he used to be the weed man. Basically, he used to be the weed man. Have a little money. You know what I'm saying? Have a little bread. Him and Keisha was together. My man. You know what I'm saying? Did a little stint. Nothing. I think he was gone like 8 months and was back after he came back. He was like, "Yo, I ain't doing this no more. I'm just trying to get myself together." You know what I'm saying? Started his little landscaping business. You know what I'm saying? He like, "Yo, I got to be," you know what I'm saying? And he probably did every now and then, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then he might, but that's his business. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But for the most part, Chuck, he was your man. He was like dependable. Like, "Yo, come cut my grass Friday." No, it's supposed to rain Thursday. I ain't cutting your grass Friday, cutting no wet grass. You know what I'm saying? I'll come over there. I'll come over there Wednesday before it rained. You like, "Oh, okay, good looking out." You know what I'm saying? Good, appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna be home Wednesday. It don't matter. It don't matter. I'll come through and cut it and trim it up, but I ain't gonna be there till late now because I got to do this. I'm trying to do this for everybody. He like the dependable dude,
Right.
right? Let's call him Ronnie. Right, we'll
Okay.
call him Ronnie, right? So Ronnie was like the dude. He ain't never did nothing. Like he ain't never been to the big city. He ain't never been but he the dude that every time you see him, he be clean. You know what I'm saying? You know, he the dude that if his old lady ain't never drive a dirty car, he always washing the car. You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
always he the dude that like he used to bring grandma tomatoes. Like hey grand, we growing tomatoes, you know what I'm saying? I just bought you a couple. Ain't many, but it was just a gesture. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? He ain't bought no whole bushel of tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? He just bought you 2 or 3 tomatoes you could sit in the windowsill for them to get ripe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Little something.
Just a good dude. Just a wholesome
Good,
dude.
good, yeah, wholesome dude. You ain't never heard him fight nobody. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never now people made him mad. Now he used to, but he ain't never want to fight nobody. He just that dude. He'll raise some
Right.
hell like, man, you better. I told you such and such and such. I got a razor in the car and I ain't scared to use it. But he ain't never used it. He ain't never went to the car to go get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he came through and he talked to Keisha for about 3 minutes. And her new man is let's call him what's a little kid name? What's a little kid name? Let's call him Mikey. Let's call him Mikey. Because even though he was grown, you know, you know what I'm saying, you could tell he was upset and he had been drinking. Right. So anyway, we in the kitchen. Now think about this. We in a double wide trailer, right? It's big. It's big, right? Chuck, you've been in the double wide
Yeah,
before.
I definitely have.
Yeah, and so the kitchen is big, but it's so many people there
Right.
that the kitchen becomes a small, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Keisha and Mo go in a room, right? And Mo come back out and she grabbed all my aunties. She like, y'all come here. And my auntie is like, we got some collard greens and stuff. And we're like, no, get your ass over here. Like that's what she say, right? Like to my aunties. I'm like, whoa, something serious is going on.
Right.
And meanwhile, my man Mikey is standing up in the kitchen, and I'm standing up in the kitchen with him. He's like, I don't know why is she trying to hold us up, man. I'm trying to get. I'm like, yeah, I bet so. And one of my cousins is just, hanging out in the kitchen with me. He like, Uncle Freezie, man. So they ain't tell you. He says this right in front of Mikey. He like, so they ain't tell you. Like, nah, ain't nobody told me nothing. What happened? He like, yo, this dude right here been putting his hands. This dude right here been putting his hands on Keisha.
On the
And I was
spot.
like, yeah, on it's a front.
Yes.
Chuck, hey, listen, man. It's men in my family. Like we men, right?
Yes, sir.
So my uncle, they older, man. They ain't trying to. I don't want my uncles to do nothing. Yo, you remember so my uncle, the one I had to use the bathroom, and
Yeah.
it was so he in that
Come on
he
in.
like, and I'm like, oh God, what did I walk into? That uncle,
Yes.
his brother, because it's a bunch of them. It's like 7 of them, right? They're like, what? And my uncle is upset, and my uncle making me upset. And my uncle upset make me upset because they don't do nothing. All they
Right.
do, them the dudes that left out the country as country boys and went to the city. You know what I'm saying? And had started a family in the city. But anyway, they're like, what? Now they mad. They like, boy, I know you ain't did. And so Mikey's standing there like, man, nah, it ain't what y'all think it is, man, such and such. So I can hear Mo cussing at my aunts and them, right? And I'm like, what is going on? And so I know when Mo get upset about something like that, like Mo don't get upset like that. She like Mo get upset over real stuff. She don't get upset over bullshit. Like she don't get upset if they don't have the sneakers in her size. Y'all supposed to be the sneaker store. Why you ain't got my size? She like, okay, can I order it at a different place? That's her. She get upset
Right.
over real stuff, like stuff that needs to be upset over, right? And so I can hear Mo cussing, and they're like, nah, man, it was just, and my aunties and them, they strong people, bro. They are strong people, Chuck. They've been through a lot. They strong, and they, what I'm saying, they strong people. But in this one thing, they not really that strong, or don't give that good advice, because ain't nobody never taught them how to, they just lived
Deal
through
with
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they just dealt with it, basically. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Mo comes out. She like, yo, Keisha ain't going. Tell Mikey. Mikey like, oh, she going. And so all of a sudden I'm like, yo, who this dude think he talking at Mo? Mo like Uncle Freezie. Keisha ain't going. Right? And so Mikey is like, oh, she going. I'm gonna come in there and get her. And so Chuck, my uncle start to say something. My cousin, the one that I told you, the straight up dude,
Mhm.
is like, because I got cousins. Now we all have flaws, right? We all have flaws, Chuck. All of
Right.
us. I still have flaws. I'm not perfect. And if you in the chat, and you're a perfect person, raise your hand. If you're a person without flaws in this chat, raise your hand. This is a time. This is the perfect time for the trolls to sit down and not say nothing. If you perfect, get on intellect. If you perfect, J Boogie. If you perfect, DSJ. If you perfect, antisocial, AC. If you perfect, Hewlett Sammy. If you perfect, raise your hand. Yeah, I just want to see the person without flaws. Just raise your hand. If you have done everything exactly right your entire life, raise your hand. Right? Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not perfect. Right? I'm not a perfect person. As a matter of fact, I'm far from that. I have a lot of flaws. And I use platforms like this to try to make myself a better person and maybe
Right.
try to help others. Right?
Yes, sir.
So Mo was like, yo, she ain't going. Uncle Freezy, she ain't going. And so this dude, and mind you, so we in my grandma's house, right? We in my grandma's house. So my grandma is older. She old, right? She old, right? Right. So my Gramps at this time, I think Gramps is like 85, right? 86. She lived to be a lot longer than that. She lived about 20 more years. But anyway, my point is,
Right.
we ain't about to have no fuss in grandma's house while she here in the living room. Gramp in the living room. Grant was in the living room getting her hair done by my younger cousins. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know how it
Yeah.
is. You show your grandma love. Your young cousins, they in there, they like 20. They like trying to give grandma the new style hairdo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Grant like, no, I don't want all of that. I just want my scalp. Just scratch my scalp. You know what I'm saying? She just
Yeah.
want the base. You know what I'm saying? You've been around older people before, Chuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They just want some of that blue magic on their scalp.
Yeah, they just don't want their scalp to be itchy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't care. So this might have been 30 years. This was like 97, something like that. So she like, no, I don't need no finger waves. Whatever the style was back then.
I think it was finger waves.
Whatever the style was back then. So this dude is like, we came here together, we leave it together. So Chuck, I'm like, I tell my man Mikey, I'm like, man, get out of my grandma's house right now while you can, right? My uncles and them like, oh, my uncles and them, they in their 70s. So they think they about it, even though they old. And the last thing I want is for some old men to be falling around in grandma's kitchen and get my grandma upset,
Right.
and then have to call the man. We down south they don't never say the police, they say the man.
The man.
Yeah, don't make me call the man from town. You know what I'm saying? So now my uncles, I mean not my uncles, but my cousins, and they immature. This is a different set of cousins, right?
Mhm.
You remember the ones? Remember the ones that I told you that they had women all around town yesterday? The ones from yesterday.
Yes.
The one they every girl they meet, they gonna marry them at the courthouse and all this stuff. So they come in and they drunk,
Right.
right? And they like, Mikey, why you mad? What's going on? And so Mikey like, man, they got my girl in the room talking about she ain't gonna come with me. And he like, Uncle Freezie, why you always come around, man? It always be something. Man, they trying to get home before it get dark. And I'm like, okay. So they've been outside smoking and drinking hen, and they coming in with all the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, hey man, now ain't the time. Now ain't the time. Now ain't the time. So it's like 6 or 7 of them. So they sound like a football team. They sound like Tecmo Ball in my in my grandma's kitchen. Every time Uncle Freezy come down here, man, there be some trouble. I'm like, now ain't the time, man. Don't do this. Now ain't the time. Y'all go back outside and drink y'all hen, smoke y'all little herb, and And so,
Right.
so anyway, my auntie comes out of the room crying. She upset because she found out, or when she found out, Keisha had told her on the phone that he was beating on her, right? My auntie was like, well, don't make him mad. She was saying that because she thought it was like every now and then, if Keisha made Mikey mad, that he would just put his hands on her. But what Keisha didn't say and couldn't say over the telephone, because Mikey was around listening all the time, controlling her, is that he used to beat her every day. And it wasn't about making him mad. She was just in an abusive relationship. So now my auntie found out the real news, right? But Keisha couldn't tell my auntie because Mikey was always there. You know what I'm saying? So she would me and Mikey got into it today. And my auntie was like, well, don't make him mad. Well, y'all get into it. Nah, it wasn't that. It's like, this is every day. He go to work, he come home. You know what I'm saying? He'll beat up on her. He'll leave, come back and apologize. You know what I'm saying? They'll have the makeup sex, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know, and so it was like a cycle that would be like every week. This is not like, twice a year thing. This is like 2 or 3 times a week thing. Right. And so Keisha finally in the room. Mo gets Keisha to tell everything. So Keisha tell everything, right? To my aunties. They in the room. Now I can hear my aunties in the room crying. One of my aunties storm out the room and just go sit in the living room. She crying. Now my grandma like, why such and such in the living room crying? And so don't nobody want to tell Gramp. Because Gramp older. You don't want to get Gramp upset because Gramp ain't gonna do nothing physically to nobody. But Gramp, she older. So this might lead to Gramp having some kind of, if Gramp have a heart attack over here, something like this, we murdering Mikey and his entire family. You know what I'm saying? That's how much we love Grant, because like she is like a pillar in the community. Like everybody, like Chuck, you remember that lady that you said you was walking home from the store and you didn't speak? Remember that? And she called
Yes.
you. That was my grandma. My grandma was like that. She was like the pillar of the community. Like everybody came to my grandma's house, like just sit in the yard, even when stuff wasn't going on. They would just come sit in Grant's yard and just hang out because it was the
Right.
safe place. It was a place where no matter how many miles was there, everybody was gonna get fed.
Mm.
Right? It was the place where if 2 people was arguing, they'll bring one of the people down to grandma's house, and then we'll sit in the yard and try to figure it out so won't nobody hurt the other person. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about men and women. I'm talking about girl versus girl, boy versus boy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is. Like,
Yeah.
like if such and such was cheating with such and such boyfriend, they'll bring such and such down to the house. I'm like, girl, he ain't no good. Such and such and such. It's like everybody. This was the place where it was like the community center, basically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Mikey is in the kitchen. I'm looking at this dude like, if this is true, we gonna let you leave. If you say "and word," you're gonna get the brakes beat off you in here. You know how you got your choices. You got your choice. Because you know how I always say I don't like violence because violence begets violence. No matter
Yes.
if one violent event is always going to trigger another violent event, right?
Yep.
And we don't, and as adults, we don't want that because violence solves nothing. You know what I'm saying? We know violence begets violence. We know that. So we don't want.
Yes.
So my aunt's in the living room crying like, I didn't know, and I told that baby to, and she talking about Keisha. She like, I told that baby to do such and such. I didn't know he was doing that to her. You know what I'm saying? And Chuck, and the makeup sex wasn't really makeup sex. The makeup sex was he was taking what he wanted.
Right.
Right. The makeup sex was, he would come back, and whether she wanted to or not, he was doing it with her anyway. So not only was she getting like the physical and verbal abuse, you know what I'm saying? He came back after he done, so he's drinking before he left. So he come back home slam drunk and assaulting her, you know what I'm saying? But she didn't understand that this was not this is not the way a relationship is supposed to be. Right? She ain't know. Because she was getting advice from aunties that, for one, had been through like similar stuff, but she wasn't telling them the entire truth either. So here I am in the kitchen. I know. And you know what? I used to think this was a black issue, just black people issue, but it's not. The older I get and the more people I talk to, the more I realize this is a human issue. This right here ain't about race, because different people from different backgrounds, they all go through create stuff, right? So anyway, here I am. Mo comes out the room. She go up front with my auntie, right? And she trying to console my auntie. She like, and so Mo come back to me. She was like, "Hey, get him out of here." And I was like, "Hey, get your ass out of here." And so Chuck, he started to say something, and my uncles, and bless their heart, bless their heart, man. But bless their heart, they when they was my age, they was just like me. You know what I'm saying? When they was my age, you know what I'm saying? They was like the big strong dudes and all this stuff. But Father Time lets no man be the top dog forever.
Nope.
Right. So if for those that are like that have the top dog, you know what I'm saying, mindset, like I'm the top dog, man. I'm the champion. You're the champion now, but in 20 years, somebody else gonna be the champion. That's just how it works. It's life. You know it, Chuck. Chuck, you know it. You know you're not 25 years old no more.
No.
You feel me? Hey, Subliminal 209 was good. And so my uncles and them start circling like, get him out of here, get him out of here. My uncle Bumble, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And so he turned around and he pushed my uncle. And he put my uncle, no lie, Chuck, he pushed my uncle, get off me, old man. He pushed my uncle. My uncle go flying through these aluminum pans that we had set up that they was going to put the food in and all this stuff. My uncle go flying. I still joke with my uncle about that. Right? He go flying. He on the ground, and my other uncles grab him. My other uncles grab him, and they pull him out the door. And my grandma getting, what's going on? What's going on? And so my uncle was like, he been beating up Keisha. And so, you know what I'm saying, my grandma trying to get up. Oh, let me at him. Like, no, Grant, please, no, Grant. Not you. You just said you saw what he did to he just put Grant. Come on, man.
It don't matter.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so so she getting up. She trying to get up out the sheet. So she got a heart condition. She got diabetes. You know what I'm saying? Like the old timers say, she got the sugar.
It's sugar.
Yeah. So she got sugar, and she trying to get up, her get up, and you can tell she done got dizzy because she done got up too fast from them dizzy spells that go along with diabetes. You trying to get up out the chair. She hurt, and so my aunts and them coming out the room. No, get mama, get mama. And so this dude, they push him out the screen. They break the screen door down. So they break the screen door down, push them out, and then everybody in the yard is like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And my uncles and them. I got an uncle Chuck. He right now, I think he is 88. He about to be 90, right? But back then, even when he was in his 60s, he was like the strongest dude on the block. So he grabbed the dude, he grabbed him and throw him off the porch. Grab Mike and throw him off the porch. He come off the porch. Now my uncle's sons is coming. Daddy. And so they coming. They big strong dudes like myself. And so anyway, they kick the dude out the yard. The dude get in his car, and he get in his car, and he get in the road and start peeling out, and he started shooting a gun up in the air, and he take off. Yeah, get out of here, get out of here, you clown. And so Keisha come out the room, she crying, and she show all the aunties all the bruises and stuff, all on inconvenient places, like all on her back, all on her stomach, all on her thigh, all the places that you know what I'm saying, all the places that people won't look. That's what she got bruises at, all purple everywhere, from this dude been beaten up for all these months, right? And she had been asking for help the entire time, but not knowing how to ask because she didn't want to ask for help and then make it seem as if she was weak or her boyfriend was crazy. Like as a victim, she felt like she was at fault, right? As a victim, she felt like she was at fault. Like, I shouldn't have been making him mad. He don't like mac and cheese on Tuesday. He only like to eat baked macaroni and cheese on Sundays. And my aunt was like, "Girl, that's no excuse for no man to be putting his hands on you."
Exactly.
Yeah. And she's saying stuff like, "Yo, but he only like to eat fish on Fridays, and sometimes, when ain't nothing else in there, I just cook fish, during the week." And I know we only like to eat. Most people only eat fish on Fridays. And when she say stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, she got a point though. We only eat like fish on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? That you know what I'm saying? That, but the thing is that ain't no excuse for no man to be putting his hands on you, right? And so I was saying that I'm telling you this because we have a lot of this stuff going on, right? And not just in the communities, but in our families. Like we don't know how to solve problems. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to ask for help. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we let the worst things go along for so long that it becomes normal, right? And so Mikey hitting on Keisha had went on for like 9 or 10 months. And not just hitting on her, I'm talking about beating her up. She going to work all sore, like she in a car accident. She always taking Tylenol and all this stuff because she in an abusive relationship. But she at work smiling. She used to work at this place called. So she used to work at this chicken place called Churches, up front at the. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard of Churches?
Yeah.
You
had that cheap chicken. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever been in the Churches in Columbia? Because you might have saw her. It's one by Eau Claire High School. You know what Eau Claire High School is?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So she used to work at that one up there at the register, right? That was her thing. She good at customer service, but what it is you know why she was good at it? because she was trying to hide the pain that she was going through at home. Right. So she was extra friendly. Like she'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Chucky, you want some more honey with your bun with your biscuits and chicken?" She that lady. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you go in there so much, she asks you what your name is after the second, third time. You can, "Hey, you've been in here a couple times. What's your name?" You're like, "Hey, I'm Chuck Allen. I'm the R&B singer. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm Maxwell Uncle." You know what I'm saying? She's like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Chucky, Mr. Brooklyn, New York, you Maxwell Uncle. How you doing? You want some extra honey to go on your biscuits?" You know what I'm saying? And so after everybody know who she is, you know what I'm saying? She like that vibrant. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't know
Right.
that this dude named Mikey was at home whooping her ass for nothing. He a jerk. He's a jerk. He was a to be honest with you, we don't even know how they even hooked up because he was a jerk with the last chick he was with. The last chick he was with, no lie, she up and moved out of town. She just left. Like we know her. Lady named Gwen. We had went to school with her. We knew Gwen. Gwen was in the church, all this stuff. One day she just disappeared. She just left. And we like, why Gwen? She just up and left? They're like, yeah, she just moved to Greenville. And like, what? That's all of a sudden. Now we know why. You know what I'm saying? Gwen just up and left. Yeah. And so people start gossiping about it. Well, you know, she was on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Gwen wasn't on no stuff, Chuck.
Of course
Gwen
not.
wasn't. She wasn't on no stuff. But you know, when people don't have answers, they make up answers.
Right.
So anyway, I brought that up. So in my situation, it's not this or that extreme, right? But you know what I'm saying? So the reason why I got on this purple Barney looking jacket is because I was trying to figure out some family matters. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure some stuff out. But Chuck, you ever been in that situation where you got stuff like this going on and your family, the older ones, they don't know what to do, so they give you bad advice?
Yes.
Stop frying fish on Tuesday. You know, if y'all gonna get into it, if you fry fish on Tuesday, you know y'all gonna fight. You want to fight? No, I don't want to fight, so I just cook fish on Fridays. What? That ain't no reason. That ain't no reason for you to, if you in a relationship, listen, man. And this might be for men and women watching. If you in a relationship and you don't feel comfortable, with the relationship, like you feel your safety is at risk, leave. It's as simple as that. If you feel like you're about to be hurt, leave. I've been through too much, man. Listen, Chuck, this thing making me emotional, man. I'm sorry if I'm the side railing or sidetracking or whatever the show, man. I apologize, but it stirs something up in my spirit, man. When things like this happen, man.
Nah, man, you good. You good. This is a great conversation. I'm glad that you brought it up. Um, I'm sure other people in the chat can attest to the things that you're speaking of. Like they've witnessed it as well. Um, it's always a heartbreaking situation, you know. Uh, in several in several instances, because of bad advice from people who uh, felt that way of life was normal,
Be right back.
it ended with them being put 6 feet deep. Um, so Unc is absolutely right, man. Like if you feel like you're about to be hurt, you could be seriously injured, get out of there. And it's not going to magically get better. If that person is not actively trying to correct that that behavior, it's never going to be corrected. It's only going to get worse. And the last thing you want is for that incident to be the last time.
Right.
And there's no more incidents because you're gone. And so I've seen it up close and personal with
Right.
family and from a distance
Right.
with very good, very good friends. Like, wait, he doing what?
Right.
Well, why ain't nobody say nothing? See, that's why nobody wanted to tell you. Cause see,
Right.
you already going, getting loud.
That's what
Somebody
your
needs to
family
say
members
something.
telling you. That's what your
Yes,
family members telling you, right? Yep. Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Somebody needed to say something. That's why nobody tell you nothing. That's why nobody tell. That's right. Don't tell me nothing. Because if
Right.
you don't want something to be said, then I'm not the person you need to tell.
Right. Right. And so they know, and the people they know violence begets violence, right?
Yeah.
They know if they told Keisha brothers about Mikey beating her, if Keisha told her brothers, they know that her brothers was gonna kill Mikey. Period. That's just how it go. That's just how it go. So we let this thing rock in silence because Keisha don't want her brothers to go to prison. So she
Right.
taking ass whoopings so her brothers won't go to prison. Right. But what sense does that make? What sense does that make? You feel me? Because I know her. Listen. I done been in hole in the wall clubs with her brothers, and they have fought for way less. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I done been in spots where they done fought for way less, and I'm not advocating violence. I'm just stating the facts as they are. Right?
Right.
I grew up with them. I know these dudes. Right? I know these dudes, man. I know how they are, and she knows how they are, right? But the thing is when we in situations like this, man, when we in situations like this, when are we gonna start becoming smart? And when are we gonna start? Um, when are we gonna start using things like value systems? Right? It's about the things that you value. Do you value peace of mind and safety? Right? Or do we value comfort? See, because in this discomfort, she was comfortable, right? And I know this is gonna sound strange. In this discomfort, she is comfortable, right? Because my man is paying on the bills. She ain't got to worry about the lights being on. She can go buy what she want to buy anytime she want to. She can do such and such and all this stuff. They in a nice little crib. People in the neighborhood saying nice things about them because they don't know. They don't know she getting her ass whooped that night. All they see is at the time she was driving a Mazda 626. Remember them? You remember them? Old country
Yeah.
girl driving a Mazda 626. She
Mazda
thought she was something.
626. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Andrew College, what's good? So she driving her little Mazda 626. It got the swirl red candy paint job. You know what I'm saying? Got some rims on it. You know, so she thinks she doing something. All she doing, Chuck, she driving a Mazda 626 and she worked at churches. So what that tell you? That tell you somebody taking care of her,
Yeah.
right?
She getting that
Right,
work.
right. That tell you it's like the T.I. video when he see the girl in the fast food place. You can have whatever you like. It's that scenario, except the dark part of it. There's a dark part of it too. You know what I'm saying? So the thing, so Chuck, so the thing about it is so just to fast forward. Um, so my cousin Keisha, she break up with Mikey. Mikey wound up going off. He with another lady. Same thing happened, right? He wound up beating another lady. He wound up, you know what I'm saying, going. He wound up. Listen, his life wound up being a disaster after that. I don't want to empower Mikey nothing, right? But Keisha winds up staying in these abusive relationships. So Mikey was beating her up. Now, well, not right now, but then she was in the relationship. Let's call him John. John doing the same thing. Right. Right. Then Steve. She break up with John, Steve, all this. So she is in relationships where now she don't know any better. She know every relationship that she got to be in is these abusive relationships because she don't know no better. This is what she been in her whole life. So she think this is the status quo. Right. And my aunts and them is telling her, now my aunts are old, right? My aunties and them all day in their 70s and 80s, right? Bless their heart. Right? Now they smarter. They're like, no, if you look like a jerk, leave, period. Don't even wait around. It ain't even worth it. Right? Now they know because they smarter. So they more experienced. And I'm not saying that my aunts and them is slower. That's not what I'm saying. Because they successful at a lot of stuff in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like help they in the church, they doing a whole bunch of stuff. They, successful at a lot of stuff, retired from their jobs, pay off houses. Thank you. You want to be on camera? No. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Mo put something in my cup or in my glass. It's a smoothie. Thank you, Mo. Love you. Yeah, I love you too. Hey, Chuck. She said, "Hey, Chuck."
How you doing, Miss Mo?
Yeah, he down here by my foot. But yeah, Chuck. So it's one of these things. Like she is in a situation where she don't know any better. Like she is comfortable in this discomfort. The discomfort part is getting beat up 2 or 3 times a week, and she in her 50s. She an old lady still getting beat up in these relationships, right? And we trying to tell her like, yo, this is not love, right?
What happened is, you remember how we were talking about Brooksy from Shawshank,
Right.
that he was so conditioned to being in at Shawshank that when he got out, he just didn't know how to cope with being out, and he
Right.
knew he wouldn't be able to handle it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That he tried to stamp a man to stay in there.
Right.
So
Right.
people when they're abused like that and for a long time, they become conditioned.
Right.
You know, I know, like the mouse who gets the sugar cube but knows it's going to get shot,
Right.
but still
Right.
grabs it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
wait, what?
Right.
But that's unfortunately that's where that situation is. And as a bystander,
Right.
uh unfortunately there's nothing you can do, man,
Right.
other than encourage them. um
Get them counseling.
yes.
And Chuck, and just real quick, man. So my grandmother, I found out, had been through this, right? My grandmother had been through this. Both of them. Both of them. Both both of them. You know, so my grandmothers had been through this. Both of them, similar situations. But so I have one grandmother that's mixed. Hence this,
Right.
right? And then I have another grandmother who is like, I don't know how, but the family. But my grandmother was like, well, let me say this: my grandmother and her sisters were like one of the prettiest girls in this little town that I live in when they were growing up. Chuck, they had what you call good hair. You know what I'm saying? Good hair and these light eyes, and they were sassy and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So they was like, who could I compare them to? I don't want to compare her to nobody because that's my grandmother, and I ain't gonna disrespect her like that because she dead and gone now. May she rest in peace. Right, but but men used to chase her, and my grandfather, who I loved, by the way, who I loved when they was young, he used to whoop her ass, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that till he was dead and gone. I didn't know that. But he wound up changing as he got older. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. And so what I'm saying to y'all, man, is man, we can't continue to let things like this impact our families and our society. At
Right.
some point, man, we have to do away with like senseless violence, senseless stuff.
Um, men men of a certain age, guys that are much older than you and I, uh, dealt with a kind of stress and oppression that we haven't seen. You know what I mean? You
Right,
you you had to go fight in a war that you didn't want to be in,
right,
right?
right,
You get treated like dirt
right,
fighting in the war that you don't want to be in.
right,
Then you come home and they treating you like dirt,
right,
and you can't necessarily fight back
right.
the quote unquote powers they be because you'll end up in a tree or in a ditch or
In the ground.
right.
Oh,
So
in a jail.
yes, one of those places, right?
Right,
So you become frustrated and you feel like the world is beating you down. So now
right,
you got to beat somebody else down. So all you know how to do is fight. All you know how to do is scrap. And the people closest to you get it
right,
the worst because they like you. They can't fight back.
right,
You know what I mean? And so this cycle just continues to evolve.
right,
You know what I mean? Um, so now it's the offspring who witnessed this,
right.
who that's how mom and dad did it. I guess that's how it's supposed to go
That's how it's supposed to go. Yeah.
because parents are the first teachers of children. Everything that you've learned that you've learned by
Right,
seeing someone else do it,
right,
right?
right,
Um, and it was your parents. So the first relationships that you see, whatever they are, is if it's both parents, one parent,
right,
grandparents, uh, these are the people that give you um, the keys to life, so to speak, right?
right,
If the lessons are if they weren't taught well, then there's no way they can teach you well because they're only going to teach you what they know.
right, right. Because
Like
you can't
like
teach what you don't know.
exactly. Um, our great grand uncle, our great grandfather's brother. I know a little bit of arithmetic, but all
Right,
that there, I don't know nothing about that there.
right,
I can't help you
right,
with that there. And
right,
you know what I mean?
right,
So I can do the basics, but that right there I can't help you with. And that's where a lot of our families and in our community is uh
right,
we don't know we don't have the information to help people with these problems
right.
because I mean it worked for me. So um I suggest you just like you said, don't fry fish on Tuesday.
Right. Right. Right.
You know they're gonna be playing cards on Friday night, so don't bother him Saturday morning.
Right. Get it right. Buy the beer on because it's simple, man. It's like for our families, man. We do the simple things to keep the peace. Like we buy the beer on Wednesday night and let it sit in the refrigerator till Friday night. Don't you go bother that beer. That's for Friday. So when Mikey get home on Friday night, he can drink his beer, be ice cold. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Look, little stuff. But we shouldn't have to be doing this stuff, bro. We don't want to. I understand violence begets violence, right? I understand that, right? But at some point, Chuck, we have to make a stand. We have to stand again. Like we get like what bother me is we at times we get so in situations we get so us versus them. Like whether it's us versus them cross town. Chuck, how many high schools was in your town where you grew up?
Oh,
I mean, not where you grew up, but in South Carolina. It was y'all. It was
one in our town.
one, right, right,
Hmm.
and then the team in the other county was y'all rival, right?
Yes.
It was us versus them,
Yep.
right, right, and so and what about Brooklyn and your neighborhood and say for instance, I'll say in because I know Brooklyn is divided, right, and I'm gonna speak to what I know. I don't know everything to the letter of the law. But I know, say there's a East New York that might not want to have people from other parts of Brooklyn that come in there and get comfortable, right?
Right.
Like if you from certain parts of Brooklyn, you can't go to other parts of Brooklyn representing where you from. You can't be in Red Hook like yo Crown Heights, you know what I'm saying? Or you can't be, you know what I'm saying, in East New York talk about yo Flatbush. You know what I'm saying? You can't be in East New York talking about, yo, bet do or die, bets die. You know what I'm saying? It's always us versus them, right?
Right.
Us versus them. And the Bronx has this thing, Queens has this thing. Guess what? This little place where I live at in South Carolina has that thing. Us versus them, right? Yo, you can't come over here. This is Killerville. Oh, Killerville. That's what we calling it now. Okay. Killerville got the best farmers market in the state, but we call it Killerville. You can go over here and buy these fresh tomatoes off this thing, but the kids out here, they 15, 16, 17. Man, yo, Killerville. Okay. All right. But listen, but my thing is this. My thing is this. We always point to what the other people are doing. Like we all a classic example. The white man holding me down, but you come home and your boyfriend whooping your ass, he black,
Mm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Or the Mexican taking all the jobs, really? But your boyfriend at home and he ain't trying to find a job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I ain't want to change subjects, but anyway, what I'm getting at is we need to solve these problems we got at home, right? Like if you being physically abused or verbally abused, right, or emotionally abused, leave. Because you don't have to be. You can leave. There is life outside of your door if you choose to live it.
But some people they be afraid. They be afraid. Like um
So you say they're comfortable in their discomfort. They would rather have the
yes.
ass whooped at home as opposed to going out the front door and experiencing freedom.
Yes. And a lot of them have like a form of Stockholm syndrome. where they feel sorry for their abusers.
Right.
Like why are you staying? Like he threw all your clothes out, the
Right.
little bit of clothes that you have in front of all these people, pulled out, pissed on it, told you to get the F out of here, you and these kids.
Right.
And you go back in there. Why?
No self-worth. No self-worth. That's why, and so it's one of the frustrating things that we deal with, that I deal with people. People are so afraid to be vulnerable, or to have, or to seem soft. And this ain't just men. I mean, it's women too. I mean, not just women, but it's men too. Like, their biggest fear is not say three gunmen jumping out on them with the heater. Give me a wallet. They ain't scared of that. They scared of people calling them soft. They fear that more. Like, Chuck, what if somebody in the chat called you soft? Like, in the midst of our conversation, where would you be at? Where would your mind be at? Like, me and you talking about an issue this important, and some random said, "Hey, Chuck Allen, you soft." What would happen? Would you continue on the conversation, or would you address that person?
Yeah, I would carry on the conversation.
Okay. See, you're a man. You mature. You mature, right? You're a man. You're a G, right? But I've been in situations where you be doing something important, somebody intentionally derail what the good things, would say something like, "Man, you soft," and it does exactly that. It derails the good thing.
Absolutely, man. I know you. Most of you can't tell at the present moment, but I used to have a horrible temper, and that's all it would take. That's all it would take was something like that. All you had to do was hit me with the biff. You
Yeah.
you chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I done turned into Marty McFly, and I'm like, what? Chicken? All right. Well, what's up? What's up with it
Right.
then? And
Right.
and I've always ended up losing. Even if I
Yep.
won, I lost.
Yep.
You understand? Like, uh, I got plenty of situations where I could talk about being in your company commander's office, and he says something that you don't like, and you
Right.
invite him to the Frank stand.
Yeah. And he's like, "What?"
now,
Yeah.
now you sitting in this building and you got to come in for the next 60 days,
Right.
and
Right.
you're not getting paid for being there,
Right.
and it is the wackest job
And you
ever.
might have lost some rank. You might have lost some
Yeah.
rank. You know what
And
I'm saying?
money.
And money.
And
Yeah.
money. So
And it stay
yes,
with you, and it stay with you going forward, because now everybody look at you like, he got, look at his record, and you're like, yeah. Because if you get one, more than likely you can survive. You get two, your military career is just about over. You get three, now Uncle Sam looking at kicking you out the door. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. So,
yeah,
but it took me hitting my head up against the wall to realize, one, you can't fight everybody, and everything doesn't need every situation doesn't call for fists.
yep,
Um, and honestly, I guess that was something that I developed over time because, um, like, I was a kid for a long time. Like, I didn't grow up fast.
right,
Like I told you the story of meeting Joanne. That's something like we were wrestling.
right,
This is the beginning. After this summer, we'll be going to high school, and,
right.
and we're wrestling in front of the building.
Yeah, 13 years old.
Yes.
13 years old. About to enter a young adult world, and we still behaving like we second graders.
Yes.
But it was fun.
It was
Loads
of fun.
You know? Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
over time, being, wanting to fit in and not, wanting to be, you too nice. But I was raised a certain way. Yeah, man, you can't be like that around here.
Right.
People think you
Especially-
soft, they'll take advantage of you.
Especially up north.
Yes. And so, at this particular time in the mid 90s, man, early to mid 90s, New York was everything that you're
Right.
talking about was absolutely you couldn't be in someone else's neighborhood.
Right.
Like, where you from? What you doing over here? Who you know over here?
Flatbush. Yeah. Flatbush. Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. You go kick it with your cousins this weekend. Like, you got to go on a tour. Oh, nah, this is my cousin. It's my cousin Chuck. It's my cousin Chuck. This is my cousin Chuck.
I had to do that in Baltimore. I had to do that in the Bronx. Like, I used to go to the Bronx like during the summertime. The grandfather I told you that used to, put his hands on my grandmother. I used to go to the Bronx to visit him during the summer.
Mhm.
And so we had to do the tour. Like, yo, this Uncle Freezie, he from Jersey City. And me being from Jersey City, I'm like, yo, what you looking at, B? I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know how you when you're young and dumb,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, I'm in these dudes' city, and I'm acting like they can't walk and chew bubble gum around me because I'm from Jersey City. Don't care nothing about the Bronx, son. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You 11.
Yeah.
You're 11 years old, man. Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't be that way. I had to do the same thing in Baltimore. We used to go to Baltimore during the summer. It's this place. It's a hill. I remember we was playing ball on this hill, man. And this dude overthrew the ball. Chuck, I swear that ball rolled for like 5 blocks. I had to chase this tennis ball for like 5 blocks. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, man. So you got to go through these things, man. Man, I ain't gonna lie, Chuck. This topic is got me frustrated, man. It got me emotionally in a place that I don't want to be at.
Mhm.
Because I know even if we talk about it and try to provide some answers and some help, that we won't be able to help everybody. And in this case, everybody deserves help.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm frustrated by it. Hey, Juju 92, what's good? Man.
One thing I if it's people that I don't know, I don't get involved. And even if it's people I do know, sometimes I don't want to get involved because I don't know if you know this about me, Uncle Freezie, or anybody in the chat, but I'll share this. If you ask me for advice and I give you advice, that's it.
Right.
The advice that I gave you was based on the information that you gave me.
Right.
If you're not going to tell me the whole truth, then don't come ask me for advice, because the answer that I'm giving you is based on the variables that you put in front of me. And if you do not give the whole question, then you're not going to get a whole answer. Period.
Chuck, listen, man, that's admirable. But bro, you got to help me more. Like if I say for instance, like before, like what they don't know is before we come on camera, I'm like trying out ties, right? I'm like, Chuck, what
Right.
does Ty look like, man? This Tyler guy. You talk about, yeah, that's Tyler guy. You
Yeah.
know, that's a basic question. But what I might be asking you, hey, man, I really need to step up my appearance, and I want to look more professional. Is this Ty thing the way to go? But I asked you, hey, Chuck, this Ty look all right? So to your point, there is more to. It's like Transformers, more than meets the eye, right?
Right.
But I think as advice givers, what we need to do is be better question askers, right? Like before, I say that, man. So why are you so concerned about your tie? And I'm like, well, I want the channel, I want Vibes and Stuff to be bigger than Kevin Samuels. I want it to be bigger than the Joe Budden podcast. And me and Chuck Allen gonna take it there. We just starting from scratch. Me and Chuck, in the grand scheme of things, we are nobodies in the social media space right now because we just starting. And we're starting in a post-COVID era, and we're in different places. So we don't have a studio set up. We don't have professional stuff. So we got to do the best we can
Right.
with the limited stuff that we got. Right. One day Vibes and Stuff is gonna be huge. I know it. I know it
I
because
believe it.
yeah, because when I look at other people and what they doing, like they got tens of thousands of subscribers and views, and they ain't doing nothing. They ain't really talking about stuff, but they ain't really talking about nothing. Like they talk about important topics, but what they saying ain't about nothing.
Right.
Right. Right. And but I guess I said all that to say this, Chuck. I appreciate your advice and stuff. But it's like with my auntie and them. Remember the advice my auntie gave Keisha?
Right.
Well, stop making a man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to be like, well, sometimes we got to ask deeper questions. Like, why is he so mad? How often is he mad? What does he do when he get mad? Right? Is he a threat to you and the babies? Right? Sometimes we got to ask more questions if we're invested in that person. If you care about that person, ask more questions.
Right.
Right? Because here's the thing. Yeah, and I'm not just saying you, Chuck. I'm just saying in general. I'm talking to the chat too. Yeah, ask 1,000 questions when it come to other stuff. Like if I come to the party and I got on the Concord Blue Jordan 11s, you're like, yo, those are dope. Where you get them from? How much they cost? Yo, you think they got my size? We ask 1,000 questions about shit that don't matter.
Right.
Right? But then when it comes to stuff that matter, we're like, well, don't make them mad. You feel me? You see where that makes sense in my mind? I mean, it may not make sense in general, but in my mind, this makes sense.
Right. The reason you ask questions is um you're trying to solve the problem. You're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
What's the purpose of squeezing the bump if you're not going to get the seed out? Like it's just going to grow right back, man.
Right. Yeah,
Like it's just going to. So like and that's the thing. I want to help. I want to help you get to the bottom of why you seem to keep putting yourself in these ridiculous situations with people that should not even know your name. This dude, first of all, everybody's like, "Why are you bringing this dude around? Because he don't look like nothing."
Right.
And you're telling me, and you're going to tell me that he beating you on the low. Wait a minute. What's going on with you? How do you feel about you?
Right. Right.
What happened to make you look at yourself different to where you would give someone like this a chance?
The time of day.
Like, and uh, you know, they would tell me little bits and pieces, and I'd be like, "Hey, man, is that the whole story? Is that everything?" Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. I promise. I promise to God, my right hand before the Lord. I'm telling you, that's it.
Right.
But then, before it's all said and done, here comes the truth.
Yep.
Well, why didn't you tell me that part? Well, I didn't. But that's important.
That's important.
That was important. You would have. I would have never told you that. I would have
Right.
never given you this advice. Why? Because of this key information right here. If you trust to take my advice, then trust me with the truth. Like if you're going to trust me to confide in me this situation, then lay it all out on the line. But I know it's hard to be vulnerable in front of people because
Right.
people are devious. As
Yep.
soon as they get mad at you because they know your weaknesses,
Right.
they know these deep dark secrets. That's the first thing they go grabbing.
Right.
That ammunition, you know.
Right.
Well, the next time you thinking about killing yourself, don't call me and keep me on the phone for 4 hours. Just do it. Like, wow.
Wow.
You were the
Right.
wrong person.
Right.
You were the wrong person to entrust with that information. So
Right.
I get why you don't want to put, but if you're coming to me, then trust that, like, oh man, like your sensitive information is safe with me. I won't tell your business. I'll tell mine.
Right.
Um, because I'm willing to stand and deal with whatever it is that come along with it. If y'all
Everybody
gonna
not
have,
willing to do that. Everybody not willing to do that though, Chuck.
but hit,
You are different.
but that's how you become free, man, and
Yep.
that's how you get to move. When I decided, yo, I ain't trying to fit in with y'all. Like I'm who I am. This is who I
Right.
am. You mess with it or you don't. And
Right.
I find like more people mess with it because more people are like you than not. So if something happened, let's just say um I smash a gorilla wolf.
Okay. All right. Let's just say I know this is not gonna happen. I'm just going with it because you said
I'm
it.
just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just say this happens.
Okay.
And the first thing, people get into denial. Like, oh man, I ain't never hit that. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh man, he hit that old gorilla wolf. Oh man, Chuck, you crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, I wasn't crazy. I was horny. She was there
Yeah.
and I did it. Why?
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna hold information over my head to think like it's gonna be some kind of control mechanism that you're gonna be able to dangle this thing over. Nah, not gonna happen.
Right.
Not gonna happen.
Right.
Oh man, Chuck had that gorilla wolf, right? Yeah, I know. He told me. Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, because I notice when people have information or they think they know something about you, they approach you differently. You know what I'm saying? They're not walking on eggshells, or at least having a certain amount of respect. Like, yo, let's not play with this guy. Oh, I heard he got knocked out one time, so he can be knocked out. So can you. That don't mean you get to be disrespectful. That don't mean you get to
Right.
approach me any kind of way. Um. Anyway, I'm saying is that if if you want to be truly free, man, living like
But
put
Chuck,
it out there.
people don't want to be free though, bro.
Then what do they want? Then what do they want to do?
Exist. It's like so. Give you an example, right? So y'all know this, and I tell the story. I probably tell the story every few months or so. But my last name is Free, right? My last name is Free, right? And it's not because, for 10,000 years there was a free family. Nah, it's because
Mhm.
my great whatever he was, grandfather, Jim, right?
Mhm.
That was my father's name too, right?
Right.
He he was a slave, right? He was owned by the Thompson family, right? It was owned by the Thompson family, right? And he was the um it's funny using this word for slave, but he was the esoteric slave, right?
Okay.
Any yo, any if you mess around and if you mess around and bat at your eye, he was gone, pew, trying to escape. You mess around and took a sip of water. Oh shit, Jim done ran a god. That was him, right? So finally, emancipation come and all this stuff come, and Jim is free, right? He had a slave owner, Mr. Thompson, who wasn't an abusive slave owner. He wasn't abusive, right?
Mhm.
But if you can tell by this that
Mhm.
other stuff was going on. So he wasn't the violent one, right? But he was a
Right.
slave owner nonetheless, right?
Right.
So Jim left because Jim left his family on the plantation, right? The family was like, no, we ain't going nowhere. Mr. Thompson said he gonna pay us to work the land now, right? So you go from a slave to a sharecropper, which at the time sounded like a promotion.
Yeah.
At the time, it sounded like a promotion because it came with paperwork and all kind of stuff, and they sitting down with you and talking to you kind of half like a man. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so what happened is Jim left part of his family on the Thompson plantation. They're like, we gonna be sharecroppers. I'm gonna be my own boss. You know what I'm saying? But you're not really your own
At
boss,
all.
right? Right? It's slave without the shackles. It's slavery without the shackles, basically.
Right.
So Jim left about 80% of his family on that plantation, right? And when he used to be walking, the man the man used to stop you and say, where your papers at?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what papers and all this stuff, right? And so they used to ask, like, what's your surname? He's like, yeah, surname. My name is Jim, sir. No, not that kind of sir. Say, what's your last name? You Jim from the Thompson you Jim from the Thompson plantation, right? He's like, "No, I'm free." And he was like, what? He's like, I'm free, right? And he meant that shit, Chuck. When they asked him, like, but you from, don't you over there by such creek? I am free, right? So
Right.
he went by Jim Free. Jim, Jim is free. Jim Free, and so that was his name. And the generations born after him, rock that same name, Free. Why you looking at me like why I'm Uncle Freezie is because it's a play on my last name, Free, right?
Mhm.
It's my homeboy used to call me, they go Freezie. You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing about it is is this. Like I'm talking about Jim being esoteric and saying that men are born to be free. Then men are born to roam, right? Men are born to roam. Men are born to be free, right?
Right.
But 80% of his family, guess where he was at?
On that plantation.
Last name Thompson.
Mm.
So we had the family reunion, and you see some Thompsons, and you see some Freeze, and we all from the same family tree, right?
Right.
But but the part that and I'm not saying that all the Thompsons think the same, right? I'm not saying that they all think the same. Like when I see them now, they be like, they just like it's just like us talking, Chuck. Except they got a different last name. They think the same, walk the same, act the same. They ancestors though, they grandma and grandpas and all that stuff decided to stay in a messed up situation because they felt safe. They ain't had
Yes.
to worry about the man stopping them. The man ain't gonna come on such and such and bother them. They can live, they can grow their hogs big and fat, they can have their little farm, they can grow their cabbage and their tomatoes and all that stuff without the man coming on their land and bothering them. But them Freeze, they was on the road, they was traveling, they was out because men are born free,
Yes.
right? And so to the point that you were making, and so to the point that you were making about why would they stay? Some people are comfortable in their discomfort.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They just I would rather I would rather get treated like a dog here than get treated like a dead dog out there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm I'm glad you said that. You've heard you heard the story about the old man and the dog.
Right.
Old man would sit on the porch every day with his dog,
Right.
and the
Right.
dog would be hollering every day.
Yeah.
And then finally, on the third day, the guy who's been walking past the house every day hearing the dog holler walks up to the old man and says, "Hey man, what's wrong with that dog?" He said, "Well, the dog done gone and sat on the nail." And he said, "Well, why don't you help the dog out and get him off the nail?" He said, "Well, I reckon when it hurts bad enough, he'll get up."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically when they've had enough, when it hurts enough, then they'll be ready to move.
Right.
Yeah, they whining and complaining and hollering and telling you all of these things that are happening to them, but when that pain is enough for them to, you know what, I can't take this anymore. I got to get up and move.
Right.
Because the same way you got into that situation is the same way you can get out of it very
Right.
easily. That
Right.
door opens and closes.
Right.
But I think people, they allow their self-esteem to be, uh, their self-esteem becomes uh, uh, unrepairable.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
So the opportunity may present itself, but they will never act on it because now it's, um, well, who's gonna love me?
Right.
I got all these kids, or I got, whatever the case may be. Um,
Right.
I might as well stay.
Right.
Almost like the cheaper to keep her uh
Yeah.
phrase.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's cheaper to keep her. Like, bro, I'm not staying in nothing that's bringing me heartache and pain.
Right.
I'd rather pay. I'd rather pay the cost because you're
Right.
paying by staying
Right.
way more than what you be paying to get them out of your life. I don't. When it comes to domestic violence, man, um, there's an issue there. And if y'all guys would have jumped on him, and y'all could have put him within inches of his life.
Right. My uncles wanted to, but they was old.
Right. They would have, and guess what? That wouldn't have changed nothing because he would have. The problem would have still been there.
Right.
It's something. It's something with him that makes him uh pick women that he can do things like that to.
Right.
And um usually when it's a situation like that, those kind of guys, especially if they got uh brothers, oh, they try to get them far away
Yeah.
as possible.
Right.
Um, they don't want nobody coming around. They don't hardly go anywhere. If they do, it might be to his peoples, and that's about it. So that when inevitably the stuff hits the fan, she don't got nowhere to go
Right.
because I done alienate her from her family. They
Yep.
don't talk to her no more,
Right.
and my people ain't gonna go against me.
Right.
All I got to do is say she crazy. She crazy, man. You know that girl crazy.
Yeah. She got all them kids, man. I be trying to take care of them kids, man, and she in here acting up. Yeah. Them ain't even my kids. I'm just trying to help her. You know what I'm saying? You know how it
Yeah,
is, Chuck.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Um, and I
And
wonder
then
what.
and then his mom will be like, well, why them girls are ain't no good women out here. They always be making them mad. Yeah. You know how it is.
But why ignore? Yeah, I don't like talking about this because it just brings up. Because I watch this over and over and over, and the generational curse that you've talked about throughout this conversation of the grandmother went through it, the mother
The
went
aunts,
through it,
all the aunts went through
all
it.
the
Yeah.
aunts, and then all of the offspring, the
Yeah.
daughters and the nieces, the same thing. And it's like, how is that? Like, how is that possible?
Right.
Like, I'm watching you endure this. I turn around and put myself in that situation. Um,
Mm. Yeah.
I'll never marry a man like my father. My father, my father did this to my mom, did that to my mom. Okay,
Right.
word, definitely. Speak it
Right.
into existence. That's what kind of dude you should, a good dude that's not going to do what your dad did to your mom.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Who you with? Dude,
Yeah.
just like your dad. You know,
Right.
like how,
Yeah.
how, how is this? Um,
Yeah.
and it's not just women. I know we've talked about women being in these abusive relationships and not be, but men being them too. With
Right.
women that are mercenaries, man.
Yeah.
Like I seen it. I seen a dude get punched at a wrestling party one night, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, man, that thing was solid. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I can hear the snot jiggling around in his nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, man,
Yeah.
she blasted him, and everybody was like,
Like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
ugh. Well,
Yeah.
it's about time to hit that old dusty trail. Gonna
Yeah.
have to bid y'all good night. Everybody be good, be safe. Gotta get up out of here. Cause I'm like, wow. And oh man, that's how she act, man. That ain't nothing, man.
Yeah.
I'm all right, man. Shoot, they ain't hurt me, man. I got hit harder than that.
Yeah. Yeah. But not
Mm,
really.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. I'm surprised you ain't got to wear a neck brace. Look like you got
Yeah,
whiplash when she hit you, buddy. I ain't never
yeah,
seen a neck snap back like that before.
yeah, man.
Uh, and the crazy thing, they be the smallest itty bittiest
Yeah,
little things. They don't be no towering 6'2" or 6 foot something woman. They
yeah,
be 4'11",
yeah.
5,
5 foot,
5'2".
5'2", 5'2". Yeah, something like that. Yeah, man. And Chuck, I know because I used to, you know what I'm saying, do detention.
Okay,
And not in school detention, y'all. I'm talking about corrections,
corrections, right?
right? Yeah. So, I know, men of all big 7 foot babies and 5'2" dynamos. You know what I'm saying? I've seen them all, right? I've seen them. I've seen them all. But man, Chuck, I gotta get out of here and wrap up, man. I'm sorry we couldn't do a relationship corner. Um,
Nah,
I
man, this
guess,
was good.
yeah, this was. Can you believe? Can you believe we've been at this for 106 minutes?
Really?
What? Where does the time go? Where does the time go, bro?
I don't know. Hey, we're gonna have to have another uh production meeting at some
Yeah.
point because I think our season is over, right?
No, our season ain't over. But what Chuck is referring to is the Knicks morning drive every morning at 9 a.m. And we doing vibes and stuff from we trying to do vibes and stuff from 8 a.m. to 9 ish, something like that.
Ish.
And what's been happening is that we've been going over time a little bit, and part of that is because of the great conversation that we're having with the vibrant ones. And but the Knicks morning drive is the Knicks morning drive. It is what it is. It's one of those things we can't siphon too much off the mothership because the mothership
No,
is what bring a lot of people in. So
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I
All
don't
right.
know. Maybe we can start vibes and stuff at 7. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy, right? Like, nah, I can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. Yeah, yeah, like
Ooh.
personally, I can't do that because at 7, you know, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll chop it up. But
yeah. Or
I'm,
maybe we can. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
no, no, no. Go ahead and finish that because I was about to get into my wrap it up spiel.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get out of y'all way. Peace, y'all. I will see y'all on the KMD in a few minutes.
All right. Hey, man. I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining and supporting us this morning. Uh, this was a very necessary show. The conversation that we had today. I hope people were able to take something from it. Um, if you know someone that is in trouble, whether they're male or female, they're in a relationship or a situation where they're being abused, um, get them some help. There's hotlines, there's groups, there's online things that people can do. There's talk space, there's uh, a lot of resources available. Um, I want I want everyone out there to be safe. Keep your hands and feet to yourself. If there's something going on internally that you can't deal and you don't know how to handle, definitely reach out to someone that you trust. I wish I would have had some numbers and information that I could give to you guys that you can call to speak with someone if you're going through something. Um, but we have to stop the senseless violence, man. We gotta love each other. We gotta respect each other. Um, so again, man, I want to thank Delano Steele Jr., Antisocial, Jake Boogie, uh, Subliminal 209, Soulfinger number 12, Ghetto Intellect, uh, Hewitt Samuel, Savage NYC, Robert Parr, Stanford Don, E. Gibson, uh, Andrew College, Jay Singh, Juju 92, um, our soul sister, Karen Fung. Thank you, love, for coming and spending some time with us this morning. Um, Again, guys, great conversation. I can't wait to see y'all smiling faces on tomorrow between the hours of 8 a.m. ish to 9 a.m. ish. Uh, Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend who's going to tell a friend. If this is your first time uh, joining the broadcast, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button and click the link for all notifications so that anytime we go live, you'll get notified. Um, Thank you very much. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Until then, peace.